Joe Schmidt, the Australia head coach, has named his Wallaby side that is going to get crushed by the South African C team. I mean, he's going to play South Africa, the world champions, in Perth. I'm Tim, this is Egg Chasers, and yeah, here are my thoughts on the match. A bit of a preview. Now we have both teams in the bank. Rassie Erasmus obviously named his Maverick selection a couple of days ago. Joe Schmidt's just been sat waiting and has named his side. Let's have a look at it then. Thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Give the video a thumbs up. That helps me spread the word. It's just me. This channel is a one-man band, and I need your help to spread the word and find new followers and listeners. And if you haven't already, please hit subscribe on the channel. But there you go. Great to see that man back. Angus Bell. I mean, he doesn't look. That's probably the face of a lot of Australians. Kind of like, yeah, I'm really happy, and I'm really excited. Also a little bit nervous. Angus Bell, with the injury issues he's had, with the promise that he has shown. In a dark time for Australia under Eddie Jones, Angus Bell was one of the bright sparks, and hopefully he can spark something in this Wallaby team and inspire something. It's so good to see him back and starting. He is one of 5 changes in the starting 15. Marika Korombete, the other big name that's in. I mean, Felipe Daungunu, who's been really good, injured, so it's kind of one in, one out there in the back line. Nick White at scrum half, one of the eye-catching names as well. A man who, I mean, Nick White, I really rate him. I've watched him a lot in the Premiership. He was amazing for Exeter Chiefs. Such a good scrum half. And he doesn't seem to be, I think people in the UK, particularly in England, really respect Nick White a lot more than maybe other people elsewhere in the world. Because I guess we're remembering him winning the Premiership, winning the Champions Cup, and not remembering his theatrics, should we say, his theatrics in some games in the past. But he starts at scrum half and hopefully can bring a little bit of control. Other changes, Josh Nasser starting at hooker and Angus Blythe starting at lock. I mean, those 2 changes, those are probably the selections that are the biggest reflection of where Australia are at. Because you look at that, you go, oh, Josh Nasser's in and Angus Blythe's in. Okay. Not setting the world alight, is it? Not inspiring a lot of confidence. Now, I'm not denigrating those individuals. What I'm saying is that the quality, experience and depth is just not there. And those are the raw materials that Joe Schmidt is working with. Maybe a little bit more optimism comes on the bench, where Seru Uru, big boy, and they just some big bodies that can match South Africa's physicality. He is one that could potentially do that. He could make his debut from the bench, and the same with Max Jorgensen, who feels like he's been in the Australia squad for years now. He's only 19 years of age, a prodigious talent, masses of potential, and he could make his bow from the bench. But again, it's trying to pull some positives out of what is, you have to accept, not a great situation for the Wallabies. I did a video earlier this week where I was talking about my concerns about the British and Irish Lions tour next year. World Cup in 2 years' time. If Australia didn't have those 2 things in the pipeline, I think Australian rugby would be just in a world of pain, even more than it currently is, which can't feel like a good place, to be honest. But some people have argued that South Africa have left the door open to give Australia a confidence boost because they have picked, and let's just quickly touch on the side that was announced a couple of days ago, they have picked, I mean, a wild team compared to what people were expecting or would imagine. You cannot imagine another team in international rugby able to do what Rassie Erasmus has done. Make 10 changes to his starting lineup. Pick people that are, in some cases, 3rd choice at the most in their position and start them in a Rugby Championship match. Absolutely nuts. And again, having just talked about the quality, the depth and experience that is lacking in Australia, I mean, again, it just adds fuel to the fire of what I said in previous videos. Is this the worst Australia have ever been, and simultaneously the best shape South Africa has ever been in overall? You could argue there've been better first teams for South Africa in years gone by. Maybe it's like 2000 and I'm just trying to think of my years now. 2007 to 2009, that era, unbelievable South African team. You could argue that the team back in the day, when they had guys like Danny Gerber, for example, might have been a better South Africa team. But overall, the whole picture, when you look at the way that the club rugby or the regional, provincial, I can't think of the word now, and you know what I'm saying, the teams in the URC, the national picture, the youth picture, it's just in absolutely rude health. So yeah, Rassie Erasmus, get the kids in, and I still back us to win a Rugby Championship match. If you were doing a combined side, I went back and forth on this a bunch. If you had all 23 Australians, all 23 South Africans, what would you do? And I've been quite generous to Australia on this one, I'm going to accept. First and foremost, you just have to look again at that bench. That bench is ridiculous for South Africa. Look at the names. Look at the double World Cup winners sat waiting to come on, should they be needed. It's nuts. As for the starting 15, I went with Angus Bell based on just what he has been capable of in the past. I'm not going to expect that from him straight away, but I wanted to put some Aussies in. And Salakai Lotto has got 33 test matches to his name, whereas Salman Murat has got another chance and is captain in the box. But I still there's some people still unconvinced he is that brute, that enforcer, and that's the challenge for him. Can he go and get in people's faces, make a nuisance of himself, be nasty, and hit some hard yards and end people with some big shots in defence as well? That's the challenge for him, and he could well overtake Salakai Lotto in the second row. But other than that, I mean, look at that. Australia's best forward, Rob Valentini, is opposite Marco van Staden and Peter Steph de Toy on the flanks. It's nuts. As for the back line, Morne van den Berg's only had one test match and played half an hour of rugby in his Bok career, so I went with Nick White there. And Lekanyo Am has not played at 12 since he had a game there for the Sharks 2.5 years ago. So just being generous on that basis, went for Hunter Paisami. And Tom Wright, again, Apaleli Fassi, he's got another opportunity. He's got incredible skill set, but not proven at international level. And Tom Wright's been doing quite well. So that's what I've gone for. I think there's an argument to be made that you could go for that, because Lekanyo Am is Lekanyo Am. And Morne van den Berg, let's be honest, if he were available for Joe Schmidt would be picking Morne van den Berg as scrum half. And he'd probably be picking Lekanyo Am in his centres as well. Yeah, Australia aren't in a great place. But I'm looking forward to the game. What can they do? Apparently, Perth has a massively high concentration of South Africans there, so at least there won't be an empty seat in the stadium again, but it might well be just as green as it is gold. I will be here on the channel on Saturday. Actually, I'm just thinking about it. My son's got a match on Saturday, so I'm going to be at a rugby club in Manchester. They'll have the game on, and I'll be able to watch it. I might have to run back and forward from my coaching duties to do videos on the channel. So so you don't miss anything, hit subscribe on the channel, give the video a thumbs up. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you on the next one.